Hello and welcome to another painting video. In this video I'll be painting this 3D printed bust of my favorite turtle, Raphael. Link on where to find this STL file is in the description. In this video I'll be mixing some Citadel paints to get a more realistic color scheme. Let's begin, shall we? Before painting, I'm going to prime the model with Vallejo Black Primer. I'm using my airbrush, but this can also be done with a rattle can. Next, to get some zenithal highlight, I use Vallejo White Primer. I mainly do this because I like to start with a white undercoat. I do however like that things that are supposed to be in shadow are already black. Let's have a look at the skin first. I base coat the skin with Elysian Green. I need 2 coats to get a nice even layer. Then I shade the skin with Athonian Camoshade. I really love this green wash. Makes everything look more grimy and gritty. Now I take Elysian Green and I go over all the raised areas. I watered down the paint quite a bit and did several coats to get color variations on the skin. The previous step left some dark spots on the skin, which I left and even highlighted. The second layer is a mix of Elysian Green and Averland Sunset. I go over the entire skin, but I make sure the previous step is still visible. The next layer is a mix of Elysian Green, Averland Sunset and Ogryn Camo. Again, I keep making these layers smaller and smaller. Now I go over the skin with pure Ogryn Camo. And finish the skin with the highlight of Krieg Khaki. Some areas on the face I coat with Guilliman Flesh, especially the lips and the nose area. Then I highlight these with Kislev Flesh. Going from a green base coat to adding some yellow really helps make the skin pop. I did a lot of stippling and feathering on the skin, which does make it look a bit more sketchy instead of smooth. I personally like this, but you can also do my steps with glazing as well to make a more smooth looking skin. On to the breastplate. I'm coating this with a mix of Zandri Dust and Averland Sunset. Next, I shade the plate with some Seraphim Sepia. Now to layer and highlight. First, I make a layer with a mix of Zandri Dust and Averland Sunset. Then I add Ushabti Bone to the previous mix. Finally, I highlight the plate with pure Ushabti Bone on spots where the light will hit. A part of the plate has been stapled together. I cover these staples with Basilicanum Grey. The turtle's breastplate usually has this sandy color and it also fits here. I wanted my undercoat to be Zandri Dust, but I'm glad I added a little bit of yellow in the mix. Makes everything stand out just a little bit more. The huge shell on the back I base coat with a mix of Caliban Green and Mournfang Brown. I already like this dirty looking green, but I will shade it with Athonian Camoshade to add some darker areas in the recesses. Now I'm going to layer Caliban Green and Mournfang Brown back on the shell to lighten up the raised areas. The second layer is a mix of Kabalite Green and Mournfang Brown. The third layer is a mix of Kabalite Green and Skrag Brown. I keep making the green look a little bit more dirty and gritty by adding brown into the mix. Finally, I highlight with a mix of Kabalite Green, Skrag Brown and Nurgling Green. Because both the skin and the shell are green, it's important to make a distinction between the two. The dark green shell also serves as a great background for the skin and makes it stand out even more. Now you can paint the bandana in 4 different colors, obviously, but I'm going with Raph, who is my favorite. I base coat the bandana with Khorne Red. Then I shade the bandana with Carroburg Crimson. The first highlight is Evil Sunz Scarlet. And the second highlight is Wild Rider Red. I like it when the eyes are pure white. Especially helps with the angry grimace Raph is doing here. I base coat the eyes first with Wraithbone. Then I paint the middle of the eyes with some white scar. A nice dark red bandana for the angriest of turtles. I've used Khorne Red to fix some mistakes I made while I was painting the eyes. The teeth are quite simple to do. First, I base coat them with Wraithbone. Then I shade them with Skeleton Horde. And highlight them again with Wraithbone. There was a little bit of gum showing as well. That I coat in Volupus Pink. The clever base is coated with Basilicanum Grey. I let the zenithal highlight shade the base naturally. This works great with a transparent paint like the contrast paints. Next, I dry brush Administratum Grey on the base. And finally, I grit up the base with some Agrax Earthshade. And here we have Raphael, looking angry as always. It is a lot of fun to paint these bigger models because you have a much bigger area to play with. I'm becoming quite the fan of stippling on layers and will probably use this more often in the future. It gives the paint job a gritty, textured feel that I really like. Get ready because the Maggotkin are returning in my next couple of videos. I've been playing with the new battle tome and it rocks. I've got some heroes and one major big monster to paint, and these will all be featured on my channel. Also, check out my Instagram where I will post updates on projects and behind the scenes stuff. For now, thanks for watching and cowabunga, dude!